Anyway, don't sit down and wait for opportunities to come. Get up and make them. The invocation today is by Chris.
All right, thank you. Let's bow our heads. Amid all the noise in our lives, we take this moment to sit in silence, to give thanks for another day, to give thanks for all those in our lives who have brought us warmth and love, to give thanks for the gift of life. We know we are on a pilgrimage here, but a brief moment in time. Let us open ourselves here and now to the process of becoming more whole, of living more fully, of giving and forgiving more freely, of understanding more completely the meaning of our lives here on this earth. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the flag salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Will it all concerned? Thank you. The song today is David.
I want to sing the Cougar Fight song for you, Rich, but we won't. Well, how about My Country 'Tis of Thee? My country is of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring.
Thank you, David. Do we have any visiting Rotarians today? Seeing none. How about any guests of Rotarians? Back.
Once again, I got Paul Wagner from Sedro Woolley in Skagit County Fire District 6, right? Yeah.
Hi, Paul. Welcome. Any other guests? Okay. So a little club business. First of all, I want to mention the auction meeting tonight at 5:30 at the library. And Tim needs lots of help, lots of ideas, and because it's coming up 60 some days away, I think. So if you can join us tonight at 5:30 at the library, that's great. And if you can't, you should have got a link from Danny today, and you can join the meeting via Zoom at 5:30 at the Sedro Woolley Library. So please do that. One of the things that we've been working on is the dessert dash, and we had some people step up and volunteer to provide desserts last week. And so if there's, it's a great fundraiser. I think we underestimated. I think we made like $4,000 the last $4,000 or $5,000 the last time we actually had a live auction. So it's really a worthwhile thing, and it doesn't take a lot of effort. So if any of you are bakerly talented, or whatever you say in that term, or you have a significant other who has those talents, could you please sign up to do that? Now, Ruth sent something out online. I took some names down last week of people, and I don't expect you to volunteer again, but it's okay if you do. But anybody that didn't volunteer or wasn't here last week and can provide a dessert for the dessert auction, can you please raise your hand? Not all at once. Okay. Who's that? Dan? Okay. And Mark. Okay. Thank you. Okay. If some of you teams, I've got notices that you've got kind of some projects that you want to take care of for the community. And I've had a couple of requests of how do they get money. Well, what I need to know is how much money you need, to carry out your project. And if you get that to me, I'll get the board to approve it, or I hope I'll get the board to approve it. And we'll get those projects going, because I like the springtime's coming and now's a good time to beautify the surrounding community. So if you've got that, get that into me. And if you haven't got your project started and need some ideas, contact me. And I may have some, or we can team your month up with another month and make the project bigger and better. Next week, since we did not have the crystal ball here when because of the COVID, at least only part of it, we're going to have the award ceremony next week, and I don't know who's won. I think Mike is the only one that knows who's won or lost. But we're going to have that next week, and we're going to start a little early so we can get it in along with the program. So plan on the meeting starting somewhere between 5 after and 10 after 12, so we can get all the things we have going on next week. So that is all the announcements I have. Does anyone have any announcements that they'd like to make? Mark.
Just a heads up that the Paul Harris Awards are going to be awarded this year. And if you have people in mind for that, these are people that not only are Rotarians, but people in our community that go above and beyond and put service above self. So if you have some nominations, we take your nominations in the month of March, and with the idea that we'll order the awards in April with Rich doing that, and then we'll move forward to the induction ceremony in June, right? That's when
I
we'll
believe so.
award those. Pardon?
I said yes.
Yes, okay, good. So Paul Harris, if you have nominations, write them up and write a reason why. Give a little narrative as to why you think they deserve that. Thanks.
Thanks, Mark. Any other announcements out there? Okay. Well, I think we can move on to the Wheel of Fortune. It's going to be.
B1. I know who that is.
Yeah.
There you go, Stephen. Wine. Well, we'll work on that for you. All right, here we go. G56. G56. Let's just do 3, then we'll get our money if we don't have any. Okay. Validated? Yes, okay. Yep. Paul Harris Award winners pay $2.
Yep.
Each.
And we would have paid for that.
All right. Let's just do 3. Okay, and we're gonna just do 3 today. We have low numbers here. G56 partner, G54. Anyone want to be G54? Oh, it's Tim. North Cascades Quick Lube, $40. Okay, we'll get that to Tim. And we owe you some wine. We'll find that wine for you, Stephen.
If that's, yeah, you done?
Yeah, we're done.
Okay. We'll now turn it over to Chris for the Sergeant of Arms.
All right, so a little bit more prepared today. I have in my hot little hands impossible trivia. So we'll definitely get some dollars out of everybody. But first, we got how many people online today? 16. We got 16 people online who have, and I think a couple of them I've seen up there a couple of times before. So they're missing out on the wheel. They're missing out on fine. So everybody online, and I see Jeff and Christina and Aldi, and you guys all owe somewhere between $2 to $5. I'll let your conscience be your guide. So let that, you can do that via Venmo, or you can do that in person. Oh, yeah. So we've got validation here when Venmo gets paid. So we'll be watching that through the course of this meeting. All right.
And we can have a second Sergeant of Arms towards the end of the meeting. to
Yeah,
see.
yeah, exactly. Now, I also did notice that a couple of members, let's see here, Phil Brockman, Tim, where are you? Tim, you're here too. I saw somewhere. Have either volunteered or been voluntold to help with a commission for the mayor. So we acknowledge everybody that got in the paper last week. So I think you guys owe a couple of bucks right off the top of the bat. So, and Becky Scrindy, I think you might be online. And so you can put that into your conscious guide up there. All right, gentlemen, are you ready for insanely impossible trivia? All right. Yeah, just get it ready. Oh yeah, I gave you car, sports, tech, science, pop culture, or TV and movies. I give you categories. Sports. All right. Oh, we lost the sport. Okay. MJ. You guys know who MJ is? Michael Jordan. Okay, very good. Won how many NBA championships with the Bulls? Very good. That was your warm-up question. Now here is your real question. What country won the first FIFA World Cup in 1930? Okay, you're on the wrong continent. Think South America, think Uruguay. $2 for everybody here. All right, folks. Tech, science, pop culture, TV, movies, cars. All right. What animal is on the Porsche logo? What animal is on the Porsche logo? A lion? You're going with a lion? You should have gone with the horse. It was a horse. All right. All right. Well, I guess you got $2 for you guys. I don't even have to give you another one. All right, guys. What would you like? Pick science. I want to ask the science question. I got no more sports. The sports are done. All right. Nathan Chen won a medal at the Olympics, correct? Figure skating. Okay, very good. Okay. Was he awarded the chemical symbol of AG, AU, or CU? Very good. That is correct. Okay. All right. Hey, that was the warm-up question. Okay. This is another science question. No, it was a combo. Let's hear. What planet is the hottest in the solar system? It would be Venus. $2 for all you guys. All right. Thank you very much for your time and participation. Do you guys want a question? All right. You guys can all be a group up here. All right, you guys want pop culture? Pop culture? All right. Superheroes come primarily from two arenas, Marvel and DC, correct? You're all aware of that? What does DC stand for? Detective Comics. So close. You were in the ballpark. All right, $2 for you guys. All right, I think we got Happy Bucks. Who's got Happy Bucks? Oh, you got Happy? Oh.
My Happy Bucks are on behalf of my son-in-law who finally got a job offer from the Everett Police Department. So Blake is very happy that he doesn't have to go through one more psych eval. Well, for now.
I've got a happy 20. Oh, it's loud. My son, Michael, who's been here multiple times, graduated of Sedro Woolley High School, left for Special Forces evaluation this morning. So he's going to spend the next month getting psych evals and physical fitness and all kinds of field training. And if selected, he'll then spend 18 to 24 months being trained to be a Green Beret. So we're real proud of him, but you know, his parents were kind of apprehensive about him doing that. So anyway, thoughts and prayers for him.
A happy 20 for coming back from 3 weeks in Honduras. Had a great time working with our students down there, and a negative COVID test on Sunday. So I'm back.
My last dollar for the Coug victory last night, and it was a lot of fun. Blake watched it. He's 2 hours ahead in Missouri this week, so we were texting back and forth, and it was a great win.
A happy 20, Venmo. A few things. Happy for the school district levy that passed. Feeling good about our police department and the things that they go through. As in Yuma this last week, where the sun and sunshine, forgot to turn my heat. I turned my heat off in the house, and I was happy to come back with no frozen pipes or anything like that. So that's what I was a little bit worried about. So happy 20.
All right. And let's see here. We find all our folks online. Travis, are you seeing the notifications come through on Venmo? Very good. So let's give them an opportunity for Happy Bucks. Are there any Happy Bucks from our Zoom group? Oh, it looks like Carl DeYoung has one.
Thank you. I have a happy 20 for such a great team February this month. Thank you for stepping up and moving through the hybrid system and making it just service above self. Thank you, Team February. And then secondly, taking off next week for medical mission to Costa Rica. So get that going. So happy 20 coming your way in the form of a check in the mailbox.
A check in the mail. That seems like a old time stuff. All right. Any other online ones? Any hands up there? No. Nope. All right. Okay. Nothing here. I think it's back to you, Rich.
Okay, it's time for our program, and I think I'll allow Carl to introduce the program, and it's time for early leavers if anyone's.
Well, thank you, Rich. Today we have Alicia Rule, is a licensed independent clinical social worker and clinical director, owner of Rule and Associates in Bellingham, a private mental health practice that works with children, youth, and families in Whatcom, Skagit, and Island counties. She has worked professionally in adoptions, in the schools with struggling students, supporting people living with disabilities, counsel children who have been abused, sexual abuse survivors, domestic violence survivors, and in hospice and home health care. She taught clinical social work in a variety of settings, including partnering with several universities and with the Public Child Welfare Training Academy. Her family immigrated from the Netherlands and has been in Whatcom County for 5 generations. She currently serves in the Washington State Legislature as a representative for the 42nd Legislative District, where she is working hard to bring in increased affordable housing, grow the living wage, jobs, and honor our veterans with the great state of Washington. Over the years, she has volunteered countless of hours, including organizing Kids in the Kitchen, an annual event combating childhood obesity, a backpack and school supply drive for low-income children, organizing a community-wide health fair to help uninsured and underinsured children, as well as for community organizations like the Junior League. While she's held many titles, the most important one for her is mother of 3 children. May I introduce Alicia Rule.
Thank you so much, Carl. It is so good to be back with you here today. I really wish I was in the room with you, but I'm really grateful for the opportunity. I have to tell you all that Valentine's Day truly was not the same without you, which is really funny to me because it crossed my mind multiple times. I feel weird. Something happened. What's happening? But I guess we were on the house floor that night, actually quite late, and I thought how funny it was that that was Valentine's Day, but I missed you all. So thanks for having me back again today. It's just wonderful to be with you. I look forward to a day where I can be in the same space as you physically. I think it's coming soon, and I love to see that you have figured out how to do hybrid meetings here. Amazing. I have lots to talk about, but I really kind of want to know more from you, what you want to hear. So I'm going to start, but please feel free to stop me midway through if you want to hear something else. I just gathered my thoughts a little bit as I came into this meeting and thought, what do these folks want to know? And I'm going to tell you what's on my mind. Things are heavy right now. Things are very heavy. Things are hard. And I really didn't think we'd be back here again doing this again. And this COVID situation is just kind of relentless. So I thought as a mental health professional, what I could do is come to you today and just tell you how to make sense of this, at least as far as what I know, which isn't everything, but certainly is something. We certainly know that we've heard a lot about the importance of mental health. And there's no doubt in my mind that everybody in this space here has experienced some version of mental health impact from this pandemic. The current status of the mental health situation in our world is looking generally on the upswing. So we see some projections occasionally in my job as a legislator working in mental health. And if you felt really bad in December, you were in good company because it really had tanked out pretty badly. But we really do see it kind of on this upswing coming into the spring. And so I am hoping one thing I can do today is leave you with some hope for that. We do remember how it felt last year when we had that kind of euphoric spring and summer. So all of us are experiencing this at the same time. We are not experiencing it the same, but we are experiencing it at the same time. That means our helpers and our helpees are kind of in this together. So, it might be really tempting to say, well, look, we're all in the same boat here. But we're not all in the same boat here. There's a word for this, and it's called collective trauma. And sometimes trauma makes people feel a little bit bristly because they're like, I'm good, I got this. And that's true. But what we know about collective trauma and trauma in general in the field is that it depends on what your circumstance is. So this pandemic is not any different than, other traumas in that those who had little before this started are doing worse in terms of their coping with this. And those who had more to work with definitely are doing better. If you want to use the boat analogy, it's kind of like, we've got like a small wooden boat, and maybe those who have some prior issues are coming in with like a bunch of extra kids or one less limb, or maybe they have no oars, and they're going to be pretty traumatized by having to save themselves in this storm. But we've got other folks who are coming in and they've got a huge yacht and maybe extra paddlers that are doing the work for them. Yeah, the storm is scary, but they're not experiencing it the same way as those in the little boat. So that's kind of how I see us moving through this. But there's none of us who've gotten through this without loss. The number of deaths we've experienced collectively is something that is no small thing. And I know when we we kind of came into it, it was like, well, that's sad. That's going to be really sad. We're going to experience a lot of deaths. We predicted that, but I can tell you, I personally have an outfit now that I'm wearing because I've had to attend so many services, and I bet you're the same, that there's just been a lot of loss. But there's also the other loss that has happened, and it's collective loss. It's loss over things like sometimes, it's a high schooler who didn't get to graduate and do a party. Those rite the passage kind of losses. Well, you might say, well, that's nothing compared to a death. Well, maybe not, but it's still a loss. It's still an impact. And that's what we're seeing, these levels of depression. I just got off a call with a guy who was trying to launch from his parents' house and go off to college, and he got pulled back, right at the time. And so now he's trying to reconvene, but his mental health is really struggling because that isn't what developmentally he's supposed to be doing right now. So all of this to say, even though it's a bit doom and gloom, I wanted to set you up for understanding some really basics about how mental health professionals are looking at this collective trauma that we're all experiencing. The good news is I have some ideas about what to do next. And I think that we're probably all ready for them, because along hand in hand with collective trauma that comes with that collective grief, if you look at people's brains, you can actually see this, but we are all wired to be connected. And so during this time when we've been so separate, we have been experiencing just tanking out of serotonin in our brains, the stuff that makes us feel good and alive and happy. But along with that collective trauma and grief, the flip side of that is we can experience collective joy. And that collective joy is coming. It's coming right around the corner. And we have to do, I think, as policymakers, one of the things I have been really thinking about as I make decisions about where to prioritize our next policy and where to prioritize the healing for our communities is that we have to come back together. We've got to get back together. And moving through this, of course, we can't get back together when it's not safe. That would be like being in a war zone and not putting bandages on our wounds before we continue to put ourselves in harm's way. That's not what I'm saying. But as we begin to gain all of these tools and figure out how to live with this pandemic, we don't want to waste any time, in my opinion, on getting back together and figuring out how to experience that collective joy again. Because that is just as real as the pandemic itself. It's just as real that we are hurting and experiencing this sadness, that we know what to do to feel better, which is we got to get back together. So a lot of the policies I've been looking at are things like supporting the arts. Well, that sounds kind of foofy, maybe. Why do you support the arts? Well, let me tell you why. This is why. If we can get people back into our downtowns, back into community, that feeling, everybody has their own thing that they like to do, but in my family, we're kind of festival people and food people. So we like to go to those places where you can try a whole bunch of different foods from a whole bunch of different kind of cultures, go outside, maybe listen to some music. I know how my family feels when we're in community that way. And it is not the same kind of feeling that I feel when we are cooped up in our house, not in community with each other. So I am supportive of that. I'm supportive of whatever your own interest is. It might be the symphony. It might be that you like to go on adventures with a group of hikers. Whatever that is, that's how we get back there. And it's not just your imagination. This is that connection that happens in our brain that's just as real as the loss, is the feeling of connecting back again, that feeling of knowing what it's like to be in a room full of people for a concert or a sporting event. When we're together and we're cheering our team on, and it's called a collective effervescence. That's what they called it in 1912. This isn't new stuff. We know, we can look at a brain scan now, we can see what it does, but this is old stuff. This is the same thing that you might call fellowship, or the same thing that's keeping you coming to this meeting year after year. It's the people, it's each other. We need each other. Our brains just thrive on that. But I also just wanted to let you know that all of these things, whether it's investing in the arts or investing in our main streets to get people back downtown and shopping in person and off their computers and passing each other on the streets, it's really good for our pocketbook. It's good for our economy. It means we're supporting our friends and our neighbors in their businesses, whether it's the barber down the street or the eatery that's had to have, less tables in a space to be able to keep it safe. Whatever we can do to support those small local businesses is supporting that community feeling I talked about, but it's also bolstering people's pocketbooks. And we know that people are feeling very, very stressed right now. Things are really expensive. And we know that we need to keep the money moving to be able to bolster our economy so that we can have the kind of economy that works for everybody. The other part of that is being able to support ways of having access to good living wage jobs. We can't talk about mental health without talking about meeting those basic needs. So community and having enough food to put on the table and fellowshipping with each other is really where my mind goes to, of how do we heal from here? So those are the things I'm thinking about on a policy level, but really the other thing I want to talk to you about today is something that we have, each of us as human beings and as neighbors, the power to do every day, and we're forgetting because we're still in collective trauma brain. And that is looking at your neighbor, slowing down, taking the pause, stop rushing to say eye contact. Hi, Jim. It's been a long time since I've seen you. Do you need a hand? Maybe shoveling your driveway? Or, hey, what's this pandemic been like on your travel schedule? We haven't seen each other in a long time. What's it like flying these days? Or maybe it's, I was thinking a lot about how we could do a neighborhood barbecue. Would you be up for rolling your Weber out on the cul-de-sac with me if we did that one night? Those kind of things may seem small, but every bit of science that I know tells us it's that's really going to save us through this. We have to intentionally be leaders in this area. And I bring this to you because I know that you are the leaders of your community. You're the ones who are already doing this work. And I just want to encourage you to let you know that it works. It's the thing that's going to bring us back together in this terrible political divide that we've all been experiencing. We have to look each other in the eyes again. We've got to be able to have conversation that's civil and respectful and problem solving for each other, because we are here living together with our neighbors, and we forgot that our neighbor isn't somebody on Facebook. Our neighbor is somebody who's going to have a barbecue with us. So I just would encourage you today to think about what you might do in your life, in your day-to-day. That's not an extra thing. It's not something that's going to cause a lot of extra stress, because I know you're already stressed. It's a hard time to be a human, but it's the thing that's going to bring us back together. And there's lots of good, solid evidence in brain science to tell you that if your gut told you or your parents told you this was the right thing to do, it works, and we need to do more of it. So I'm here for questions. I don't have any idea if that's what you wanted today, but I've enjoyed having a moment to pause myself and think about what we can do as community leaders to bring us back together. So thanks for the opportunity.
Questions for?
I don't know if somebody has a question or they're just going to get another role or something. It's hard to tell on Zoom.
I think we have a quiet group here today, and but we really appreciate you coming and speaking to us today. It's a very interesting presentation, and we thank you very much.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you for being here with me today. I very much look forward to seeing you in real life. I'm in Olympia for 2 more weeks or so, and then I will come and see you at a function. Maybe we'll be outdoors, or maybe we'll be sharing a meal, but I look forward to it.
Thank you, and thanks again. Okay.
Bye.
With that, I think we have an end to the meeting, unless there's some updates from Venmo that some people haven't paid their fines or promised to. So with that, we do have the February team is short of people this month. So if you have the time or have a few minutes, please help put the tables and chairs away. Thanks.